I welcome Akash Ganeshan for this podcast. This is a kind of a podcast where I'm not doing with an chess grandmaster. I'm not just doing with the only chess player where I've been fascinated about. He is a human being who has evolved over the course of time. Playing chess is game of passion, but evolving in this game is a much big deal because he is the 66th grandmaster from India and he has pretty well played almost of his games. When you just type in Akash Ganeshan in Google, more than him, the games which he has played comes up. And moreover, when you think of an human being who is as intelligent as him, you can also think about what's the amount of stress that goes behind the match. It's a psychological game. You need to master it. So now I present Akash Ganeshan for this podcast. This is a kind of a podcast where you are supposed to watch if you want to master the game of presence of mind. Thank you so much for this amazing podcast, sir.
Hi Vishwas, thanks for having me here. That was a nice intro for me.
Yeah, you have evolved over the course of time. Like nobody starts winning chess as soon as you start playing. Nobody starts playing it in a full stack fashion where everybody thinks that, okay, I'm just going to be the next Magnus Carlsen. I'm just going to be the next big name in the game of chess. People evolve in this game. I just want to ask you this one question: how have you evolved as a student to a chess grandmaster now?
When you start the game of chess, probably you will be at the age of 5 to 6 or 7 or 8, and you wouldn't have any idea what is a grandmaster, first of all. So it's a very gentle process. Like the first aim of would be like when will I get a prize in a tournament, and that's the first thing that excites you in the beginning, and step by step you will like know get to know things about it. When you go in a particular field, you will know people, you will know what are the challenges you will be facing, and what are the like victories you can be looking forward to. And that's how step by step I just came across like everything in chess. And yeah, it's been a one big journey for me, and also looking forward so much more in this field.
Yeah, but like I just want to ask this one critical question. आजकल youth के बारे में हम सब जानते हैं. More than partying, more than just रट्टा मारने के बाद, just writing down the same exam. That's a regular routine that happens in everybody's life. But I want to explore something of your undergraduate journey. How was your undergraduate journey? You know, during this time, I'm pretty damn sure that you should have been in under a lot of academic stress because you completed your engineering in the also you became the grandmaster in the year of 2020. So who was Akash Ganeshan at the time of undergraduate studies? Like, how did you actually manipulate everything when you are just practicing for your journey in chess, and also as an engineering student, how did you actually space it out?
The background of before entering engineering journey was like I was fully into chess when I was in 11th and 12th grade. This was like completely new. Like I had an idea like what is engineering is, but I've never experienced what is like the curriculum and everything. Like in the school days, I used to be like I was like a free bird, like playing a lot of tournaments, whatever I want, and my school was like equally supporting me. And I didn't have much stress over the academic section. I can read and do it. It's only in the final examination you're going to do it, and so it was like a easy thing for me in the beginning. With the same expectations, I entered the engineering, but it was such a disappointment for me when I came to know that you have to be like such a good student to pass the exams, at least in that worst case. So it was quite stressful for me in the first year. I was like a very like it was difficult for me to adjust in the beginning, and it took me like 1 or 2 stems to completely adjust myself to how to like go about with the engineering as well as managing my chess career. So it was a difficult time for me in the, but I wouldn't say like after in the second year I was able to somehow manage both. Like I was also, but I was not able to play chess tournaments that much, which I used to be playing when I was in the school. And in engineering, it was since I have to equally spend like most of my time in practicing engineering and doing a lot of projects. So it was very dynamic, I would say. So and I like micromanage things. Like I would do what are the things which are in my control. That are the things only I just was doing it. I didn't like go big about it. I didn't think of becoming grandmaster at that point of time. I completed my engineering in 2018. So, and in 2017, I decided like, well, let me go about, let me complete my engineering first, and let me uh, then proceed with chess. So I didn't stop engineering and then put full effort on chess in that point. Only after my completing my engineering with good grades, and then I went to fully devote my time to chess. So in the next 2 years, I was like fully participating in the European events, and yeah, then I completed the achievement.
What was your feeling when you were the 66th grandmaster from India? It's a big achievement at the end, but like, what's that amount of stress that you went through? I know you should never undergo a sort of stress, or you should never undergo sort of a trauma where you're just supposed to be focused. Like, how did you manage being focused for the games, and also how did you actually pave your way to the grandmaster? Lot of games might be you might have had failed in the initial times, and what's that intricate detail that we are supposed to keep in our mind when we are just trying to play any game?
So it's all about the mind. Everyone will have different situations. Like other person will have face a different situation. In my case, it was like I spent 4 years in engineering and I have to give a comeback to chess. So at that point of time, I had a lot of people saying like it's a very bad idea to pursue chess at this point. You have spent 4 years in engineering and now you're going back and forth. So it won't be like the sufficient thing to do. And so a lot of criticisms are coming, like people will be throwing around even for like playful things, or it will be like you will get it hurt immediately if you're doing something seriously and people are not in your vibe. So these things were the first things that were hurting me when I completed engineering and I was going to back to chess. And after that, the next thing was affecting me was the gap which I am not the gap in like the play. How do I say this? The playing gap, like if you're in touch in the game with, even though you're practicing, if you're not playing chess tournaments, you will face a lot of problems when when you go back to the game. That was my next thing was happening, and after a bit of like few months, I was able to get back to the game, and I was like slowly, steadily improving my game to a particular level. So in chess, if you want to become a grandmaster, you have to reach a rating of 2,500 and also a complete three grandmaster norms. So I was around 2,400 when I started, and I was slowly, steadily going like around 2,450 in the end of the year, and it was going smooth and well. But in the next couple of months, I just lost every rating what I scored, and I came back to 2,400 in the span of 1 year. So it was like I didn't make any improvements in rating wise, and I also was like completed one and I wasted a year after engineering. I didn't go for a job also. So it was quite very hectic, I mean, a very tough time for me at that point. So those are the points like actually defines a sports person's career. Like you can go about either way. You can quit and go and do something else, or you can like pursue. You can try hard and stay alive, survive the thing. So that I somehow survived there, and I just stayed there, and I just played again. A lot of defeats came along the way, but still, I was managing myself and putting back the head and going away. And yeah, and in the another big achievement came in December 2019 when I finished second place in nationals. I also completed my three grandmaster noms, and I just had few rating points at that point, like to complete the grandmaster title. And it also took me a lot of like few months to do it. So I played in last in Germany. It was a very thrilling time for me. Like that's when COVID started, and I have to come back to India. It was kind of situation that time, but somehow I decided let's try it out, and I just had few rating points to complete my grandmaster title. So I just went there in Germany, and yeah, I just completed my grandmaster title there, and also managed to get the last flight to India and came back to India. Yeah, that was like when I completed grandmaster title, it was like first sign was a big relief sign. You would say like it was like after a lot of difficult surviving things, it's just a big relief for me. And then like when I came back to India, we just like that when the things sink into you. Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I just want to ask you this from my personal interest, is this sport evolving in India? Like, are there more people who are indulging themselves into this game or this sport of chess? How have you seen this evolution of this interest in the game in the people, in the general public? People might not have that amount of enthusiasm to be in this game because chess is not the game of gods. Cricket is something which they really worship every day, but chess is something which is not that followed here. Have you What's your view on the evolution of this game in this country? Will it really give out some more grandmasters, or else is it going to be like a steady state growth in the interest in the people, or else what is it all about?
If you're comparing it with sports like cricket in India, it's not going to be. I don't see even in the next 10 years. I don't see like a match for cricket. But in other countries, like they treat just like a tradition, like a culture. They see it as like how do we like pray God every day? They play chess every day. They see it in a different manner in even Russia's and in a lot of European countries as well. And in US, they are it's emerging as one of the important like major sports. They are like taking people from other countries, like coming, they're inviting them to their country. So a lot of things are happening around the world, but we can't see it in India. Definitely after this COVID outlook, there's been a big outbreak for chess since it can be played online and the only sport which can be played online. And but on the other side of the story, the one thing that is lacking in chess is it's not an spectator sport. So if if the people are trying to do something like to make it a spectator sport, definitely it's going to be a wild one in India. So that's what I think a lot of people are working on. I think like one of the interesting ideas like people used to have in one of the tournament is like they attach and watch like thing. So whenever the people, the person is like is in shock or something, people don't show it in their face, but their heartbeat raises. No, like we can find it out in that way. So they are using a lot of technologies to create and make it interesting the game. It's actually like if you're a professional like chess player, you would understand the moves and you can be correlated with it and you would be in the game. But if it must be easy to like view for normal humans. So even if he doesn't know chess, he must be able to watch it. If that if they could achieve this one, and I'm pretty sure like chess will be one of the top sports in even in India.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when I see Magnus Carlsen playing chess and like blindfolded. I feel so proud that this game has something which is more detailed version of a human being. This can really produce something a very superhuman level intelligence out of an human. Even a normal human, if he starts playing, there is some intuition that really pops up in everybody that okay, I have to just learn to get the best of the best moves. But I just want to ask you this one thing because you have been playing chess for a long time now. I've been playing chess from past 5 6 years, yeah, probably that much. I don't know much about this game, but I just Gary Kasparov's book. I just read books, I just see the blogs, and I just love this game. That's how I connect with the people in chess. But I want to ask you this one question: what's that one psychological element that plays a major role in the tournament? Let it be in a tournament, or else let it be in a hobby sport. Let it be an hobby sport. There's a psychological element to it. What's that one psychological element that really builds you as a proper chess player?
The confidence level. You should be confident enough to like there are like a lot of things happening like off the board. When people see the pairings itself, people like will get upset if they're bad against some people. No? These things happen in a lot of pinches. Both I have also experienced it. If you're new to the game or like if you're just starting the game, there are like rating differences. Like as I said, a grandmaster need a certain rating level, and so these are like if you're bad against a higher rated opponent, people tend to get like okay, hopeless. These kind of things happens, and these things only can be get when you are confident enough to and believe in yourself. It's a very general thing, but it's very basic thing to do. A lot of things like other than that, I would say I've seen a lot of people like the way their attitude even during the game itself will be like very aggressive and intimidating, which in turn is it's a psychological thing basically. It's not that the person is aggressive or anything, but to show the state of mind, the way they're going to play itself. These it's very interesting. But I wouldn't say like the psychology is the major thing here. It would be like contributing to 15 to 20% for the game maximum. Not every game is going to be like decided because of psychology, but it's actually like a interesting thing. You can people try to do a lot of different stuff, but at the end of the day, if you are confident enough, you can tackle those psychological problems and play your game.
Yeah, there's a lot of fear which comes in making the move. Every move makes me so fearful. Like what if this is not the best move? What if he gives me a checkmate in the next move? you know Fear of losing and making mistakes and learning from it. How much is the contribution when you are building yourself as a chess player? you know what's that major role when you are just starting to play the match? What are these all about to you over the course of time? You might have had a lot of failures in this game, but they are some sort of a lessons to you. Like how far can we learn from our failures in this game?
One thing every player must do is like whatever they after the finishing the game, either they win, lose, or make a draw. They should go back home and analyze the game. And it's very very important. Like you shouldn't make the same mistake twice. That's the very, very important thing. So when you tend to analyze your own game, you will know like what are the thoughts you have been thinking. Why did you think in that manner? And you would have even if you have seen a very good move, like this is a very good move, but you with fear that there will be certain fear that it may be going wrong, and that will ghost. They would say ghost in the mind, like that thing is there, but still you would have some fear and restrainment to play that move, and you wouldn't have done that. So you should have asked yourself the question like, why didn't I do that? Well, it was like when you come back at home and if you see it, it would be like a very natural move to play it. And these things will automatically, like, when you do, like, if you analyze for even your 10 games, like if you play 10 games and you analyze them, you will know a lot about yourself, and this can help your intuition to make a better move next time.
Yeah, but what makes a real chess player? What makes a good chess player over the course of time?
So as such, it's you have to be a good sports person actually. Like everything, whatever a sportsman would do, you have to be hardworking. You have to be disciplined. You have to be physically fit also in chess. It's other things or like practicing chess, practicing the game. It's quite common. Like every what other sports do, like it's all the same. It's going to be the same. I don't see any big difference. The only difference I see from other sport is like as a chess player, you have to use a lot of technologies. You have to be well versed with the computer and do things. Other than that, the discipline, hard work, it's all the same with the sports. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's no less than any sport. It's no less than any sport. It's not like we are just sitting for 10 minutes in front of a blitz watch, or you're just playing with an opponent. It's a very rigorous game. Every move can turn out to be something flaw from your side or something as in glory from your side. That's for sure. But there are ways in which I would love to question you on your best game. But I want to ask you this worst game of your life. You knew that you are supposed to win, but like you just lost it just because of the one dumb move. Are there any matches like that? Are there any tournaments like that?
There must be a lot of tournaments like that. It's a very good saying. There is like it's very difficult to win a one position. Like when you got a winning, be very careful to convert it to win the game. It's it gets tricky when you are in winning position. Like a lot of things happen in your mind. The first thing is like your alertness the level would drop. So you would lot of miss counter chances in your game, and also you would be more lethargic or lazy to find the correct solutions. In the vice versa case, if you are in a difficult position, your mind will be very alert, and you will try to find the best move in every situation. So it has happened a lot of me. I think I don't even like have to say anything. It's a common thing actually. Like not only for me, but every player. Like you messed up in the winning position. Definitely every even Magnus Carlsen would have done that. No doubt about it. So so I wouldn't say that the worst decision, like making a dumb move in the winning position, is the biggest crime. But the crime, I would say, is as I said before, like doing the same mistake twice. I've done that once, like I think in the opening stage of the game, and I played a very bad opening in one tournament, and I've completely forgot about that. And after like I remember like 2 to 3 years after that, and I again played the same opening, same mistake, and I lost the game. So that is one of the biggest mistake I would say.
You know, chess is a game where you need to have deliberate practice no matter what. Even if you are a grandmaster, you are supposed to evolve as a grandmaster, because there are people who are ready to say that that match was filled with luck for him. There are ways in which people can really point out to that match or that move at one given point of time. What will be your deliberate effort to learn from the different analysis that you do at an everyday basis? And also, what will be your mindset when you're learning this game? Playing this game is an horrible thing, because everybody's mindset will be stuck to, let me just find the best move at this given point of time. But learning is an deliberate process, and it's a new level of discipline that we need to have. What's the deliberate process that you have adopted in your life so that you learn this game in a very thorough fashion?
Concept of deliberate practice, I think I learned in the book, The Talent Code. I remember like in 2014 or 2015, I think I read it. I've never heard of it before, and after reading it, I was quite curious about how it works with chess actually. So it's a if you see in other sports, it's like you can easily say if it's going to be in cricket, it's going to be the shots. It's the shot they're going to practice it like every day, and they know this is the shot they're going to practice it. Or it's bowling if they're going to know like the way they're going to swing their arm, so they can practice it in that way. But if you see in chess, it's like it's not an easy thing to say. You don't know which is the position, which positions are you going to get on the board, which are the positions like you're going to calculate. So it's a kind of like a randomized thing in chess. Like there are a lot of n number of possibilities, enough number of positions you can occur on the board. I have never in my life I have played like thousands and thousands of games, but no two games have repeated like till end. So it's not going to be the same. So what I would do is like let's first there are three categories: openings, middle games, and end games. And if you want to like the one thing which can occur in your game is the end game. Like the positions which we can study will actually come in your game. That's the end game. So in that you can deliberately practice, and you can if there are a lot of rook end games which are quite common. Like I think as per the statistics, rook end games are the most common end games. So it has like frequency of occurring a lot of in your games. So you like if you keep a board chess board and you just learn from the theory. Like a lot of top chess players have written books on rook end games, and you just go through them one by one, and you just plan it for a particular week or month, and you just set your time. So this month I'm going to study rook end games, and you just go about it. That's how I work. And in the opening stage also, like if you're picking up a opening for any opening, you just have to decide and you just have to know what you're doing basically. It's not if I go about one day it's going to be an opening and next day it's going to be other opening, which also I can do it like with the knowledge and I can do it in a scramble of time, but it won't be as effective as doing it over a longer period of time. Maybe even for 1 hour a day it's fine, but if you're doing it for like 5 to 6 hours per day and finishing it off in a week, it won't be like as effective as doing it for a longer period of time with shorter duration. Yeah.
We both come at the same background called as engineering. We are somehow involved in the technology. Somehow or
Yeah.
other, we have learned C program, Python, or some language for sure. Like, I want to ask you this one question. Like, you have learned languages, chess is an also a kind of a language today because e4, e5, h1, h10, something or the other will just be an coded move. There are a lot of ways in which we are actually moving more towards getting this process more automated because machines are getting involved in this game. When
Yeah.
alpha beta pruning algorithm really beat Gary Kasparov, the deep blue, amazing. I just analyzed the way in which Gary Kasparov, and even in his books, he has written, we need not have to work in building a machine as intelligent as a human being because that's his experience. I think probably he is the one who has evangelized technology, even though he's being a sports guy. I think probably he was one of those first people who just evangelized the technology. I just want to ask you this one question. What is the most fascinating thing that you have learned about chess? Being a student of technology, we are engineering students, but you played chess. But like, what's that fascinating thing that you learned about chess?
So the possibilities and the pattern recognition is quite very different. I don't see it in any other thing. The as before I said no, like even for me, I've been playing like so much games. I have never seen like a single game repeating itself. So it itself, like, it's a very different thing for me. And the other thing is the pattern recognition. This is a very interesting theme. Like, if you are like, if you see a patterns, like a lot of patterns, like tactics, there are like pin, fork, and etc. So if you see that in one position and you just see it in another position, you will find it in spontaneously. However, like different or whatever may be the position, I could just if I see the pattern and if you give me a position, I could just say it in 1 second. So this is like a very interesting thing to me, and I think that is what actually makes you play better chess. Knowing a lot of patterns, and you can actually go improving in your chess also. Uh, that's quite fascinating for me in chess.
I know for sure you should have had studied the way in which Gary Kasparov and Deep Blue game went on. I know that's for sure. You know, you would have had studied it for sure. But like when you look at such kind of algorithms beating human beings, you know, humans can humans can get fatigued very easily. You know, we are not completely true in terms of our efforts like computers, because they can work 24/7 with the favorable conditions. Even though if we are provided with a lot of favorable conditions, we can't work. We somehow or the other burn out. Are there chances that there are going to be mechanical grandmasters tomorrow? Like grandmasters who are just derived from a lab tomorrow? You know, are there possibilities that technology can evolve to that extent?
Well, so the starting of the computer chess is like, I think it's around 1950s or something. And I think it became famous after the Deep Blue's match, IBM's Deep Blue. I think they started a match on 1996 first year,
Yeah.
and which I think Kasparov won in first time. And the next year, 1987, like they won, like Deep Blue won against Kasparov. And I think Kasparov was like so mad at that point, and he wanted a rematch. But IBM said, "Okay, we are not going to let that happen," and they dismantled the Deep Blue. I think it was an interesting thing. That's when the computer chess was like blooming that point. But at this point, it's like computers are much far ahead than the human mind. They are like the Magnus Carlsen. I think is he was the highest rated chess player. His rating is around. He was highest rating was 2882, and now the normal chess engine's rating standard is like 3000. So it's like a very big difference. And even if the one of the top chess engine like Stockfish, if if it plays with Magnus Carlsen 10 to 100 games also, I don't think can, I think Stockfish will win all the 100 games. There's no chance against I mean human versus computer at this point. So, but the interesting thing is like there was Alpha Zero. Maybe you must have heard about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It's Google's Deep Minds. Like they came up with Alpha Zero. They used an interesting technology with that. Like I think it's different, like some reinforcement learning technique they were using it, like where the Alpha Zero plays game with itself, like thousands and thousands of games it will play with itself and learn from that and use it for its like building its own thing, like artificial intelligence. Yeah. So and it played against Stockfish and it won very like in a very fantastic way. Like it was very pleasing to see also the games where like it doesn't care about the material actually. Like it was like sacrificing a lot of pieces and everything, and it was such a beautiful thing to see on the thing. And it bet Stockfish. Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of developments going on in the technology wise, and engines are much ahead of human brain right now.
You know, thank you so much for this amazing podcast. You know, this is my first podcast with HS Grandmaster. You know, I've done with scientists, I've done with authors of books on deep learning. I think probably this is going to give an higher level overview of what chess can be done by using machine level intelligence. I think this is going to demystify a lot of things about what a chess player needs to be. I think you've covered all, and thank you so much for this amazing podcast.
Thank you, Vishwas.
Thank you so much. I'm